Julian, another big result for the Whitecaps. Can you take us through the game? Just your overall thoughts.
I mean, yeah, it's a point. We're on the board. After obviously, not having the greatest start with the past two games. I thought it was a pretty even game. Obviously we know that they're a good team, play, very, very good style in my opinion, and very dangerous, very good players, very good coach. So we knew it wasn't going to be easy. But I thought we were better this time at translating the first half into the second half, and not really dropping our quality too much, and even having chances to win the game. And the tie, we could have probably scored a couple goals. They maybe had a few chances. So I think overall the tie is maybe the most deserved result. But again, would we have liked to obviously win the game? Yes, especially at home. Whenever you get a chance to beat a good team, you should try and capitalize, especially at home. And but yeah, it's a point, and we'll take it. And like I said, we're on the board, and hopefully we continue to roll now.
Julian, two big games next week. What is the approach going into Honduras and then a quick one in LA?
Well, in Honduras, it'll be advance. I think it's pretty simple. We're up 5-0, and that's obviously a very good cushion to have. But at the same time, we know how difficult it can be in places like that. You see Austin, just last week. So obviously, got to be ready and got to be prepared for quite a difficult environment down there. And then try and obviously have a quick turnaround with LA and a long week in terms of travel. But I think the focus now shifts obviously to the Champions League and make sure that we advance there, and then we will figure out what LA will look like after that.
Brian White in the first half had a bunch of chances. Sergio right at the end. The talk has been the first three games about finishing the chances, and you guys are generating them but not finishing them. At this point, like, what can you say? What can you do different?
Well, put the ball in the back of the net, past the keeper. No, I think today, I just remember the really good chance right at the end of the half for Brian. I think the keeper makes a great save, and you can't really fault Brian for any of that. It's it's a matter of kind of being clinical, and I know those guys will score their goals, this season. It'll come as long as we keep being able to produce the chances that we are. I think it'll come eventually, and I think that's the big thing, right? All we can do is keep getting in those good spots and keep creating. I think that's the big thing, because that's a pretty difficult part, to do, creating chances and having good scoring opportunities. And ultimately scoring is very difficult as well, but at least we're getting in good spots and we're able to find dangerous situations.
What's it like been playing with Sergio now that he's been with the club for the past few weeks?
Yeah, Sergio's come in, and obviously we've known him from last year a little bit in Salt Lake, and he's obviously a big, strong guy up front that can that's very clued in tactically, has played in obviously very good games in Germany, and last year knows the league from last year here. So he's a guy that brings a lot to our team. I think a lot of power up front, a lot of danger. I think a lot of, he almost scares defenders a little bit, I feel like. And that's something pretty good to have, and especially like today where we played with both guys, Brian and Sergio. I think that's a pretty good duo to have up there. And we were able to create, some danger, and hopefully, like I said, those guys will be able to score a lot more goals coming soon.
And what do you make of the recent play of Andres and Alessandro, especially with you in the midfield with both of them?
Yeah, I mean, great players, both of them. I think I have a very good connection with both of them. Obviously, Alessandro is my roommate on away trips, and throughout all of preseason, ever since he got here, we've been pretty close. So it's certainly, I've said it before, it's nice to play with those guys, and those guys, obviously we have a very good understanding in the midfield there. We rely on each other to make each other better, which is a very good thing, I think. And we'll try and grow, and we'll try and dictate games more and more, and hopefully create more danger from that, deny, things defensively. And yeah, be able to play through us to create scoring opportunities and continue to evolve as the season goes on.
You talked just now about being able to dictate the game. In the first 2 MLS matches you had, it seemed like you kind of came out of the gates and really were able to do that. This one, it took a little bit more time before we really saw kind of what the Whitecaps have the ability to do. Is it simply a matter of 3 games in 8 days or something else?
Yeah, maybe. You know, every game is different, you know, and every opponent is different. So I mean, Dallas did a good job today being on the front foot and kind of making it difficult for us in the beginning. And like I said, they're a good team. So you have those spells, and today that spell maybe was in the first 10, 15 minutes where they were a little bit better and they were on top of the game, and we kind of had to find our way into the game, you know, and that's okay. After going down 1-0, I thought our response was pretty good, so it's obviously a positive to take away from. We continued to play. We didn't, you know, overreact. We just continued to play our game and trusted that we will get chances and that we'll, you know, score one way or another. And we did that way, and, you know, tied the game up and then continued to push that way. So, yeah, sometimes just games happen that way.
That quick first goal from Dallas allowed them to really play a very compact shape, especially towards the latter stages of that first half. Very difficult to get any balls through that. Yet that seemed to change a little bit in the second half. You did find your pace. You did find that ability to move the ball around. Was it something that was said in the half? Because we didn't really see any sort of defensive shape happen right away, yet you seem to have a little bit more license to move forward.
Yeah, I think it was just the way the game evolved. I think it became a bit more open in general once they tied the game. Or once we tied the game, that, yeah, just, you know, both teams early on in the second half, obviously, you know, you try and not be too deep and try and still play regular game, tie game and stuff. So yeah, it was just the type of game it was, and again, I think they are obviously dangerous, you know, and we were able to kind of try and limit their chances, which, you know, happened most of the game. I think we still obviously gave up a few, but and in the second half, then once the game opened up, I obviously try and get forward. We try and create danger from different opportunities in different, you know, ways, where maybe I roll out to the right, maybe I go more through the middle and stuff. So yeah, it allowed me to do that a little bit more in the second half as the game opened up, which is normal, I think, and I just wish we would have put one away.